Pause. Imagine this scenario for a second. Instead of typing a massive manual to teach an AI a task, you just showed it once. Like training a new coworker by having them watch your screen.
Yeah, it completely shifts our baseline. I mean, we're moving away from writing rigid instructions.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're thrilled you could join us today. We're exploring a fascinating new tool from Anthropic.
Right. It's called the Claude Skill Builder.
And it focuses heavily on browser automation. We're going to explore how to safely record a skill. Then we'll walk through a real-world YouTube workflow demo.
Right, and we'll analyze the surprising output it generates. But we also need to establish a strategic hierarchy. You definitely shouldn't use this feature for everything.
Exactly. So let's start at the very beginning, the shift from typing out prompts to just showing the work. We all know the core problem here. Writing out every single click for manual browser automation is tedious.
Oh, it's incredibly frustrating. Think about the old way of automating things. You had to describe every tiny step in text. You had to map out every menu item. You had to anticipate every single edge case.
And even then, things usually break. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Yeah.
Especially when trying to write out these massive manual workflows.
We all do, because text is just a poor medium for visual tasks. You're trying to translate a two-dimensional visual interface into linear words. It's incredibly inefficient.
So this new skill builder aims to solve that problem. But you need to know how to actually access it first.
All right.
This feature is only available in the Claude desktop app. You won't find it in your normal web browser chat.
Yeah, that's a really crucial detail to remember. You have to download and start from the dedicated desktop app.
Yep.
Once you're in, you click the little plus button.
Okay.
Then you toggle on the feature called Cowork. Finally, you choose the option to record a skill.
Pause it. But right before you actually hit that record button, you're met with a warning.
A very strict privacy warning.
Yes, and listeners need to take that warning very seriously. The recording captures absolutely everything happening on your screen. It captures your precise mouse clicks.
Yeah.
It captures your active typing. It even captures your ambient voice.
So it's essentially a full environmental capture of your workflow. This means you must actively protect your sensitive data.
Right.
Don't open your password manager during this process. Don't show your personal bank details on screen. You really need to keep your client data totally hidden.
If it appears on the screen, the AI models it. It processes the visual data to understand the context, so you have to curate your digital environment beforehand.
Exactly.
It's like having someone shadow you at your desk, watching every single move. You have to make sure your messy, confidential papers are put away first.
That's the perfect analogy. You're basically pulling back the curtain on your digital life. You're inviting an observer into your workspace.
Yeah.
But there's another toggle you'll see there, the microphone toggle.
Yeah.
You really want to keep that microphone turned on.
Which brings up an interesting mechanical question for me. Why is voice narration so crucial compared to just tracking mouse clicks?
Because mouse clicks completely lack underlying context. Your narration provides the invisible rules governing those clicks. When you talk through the task out loud, you explain your reasoning.
Right.
The screen recording only shows the physical steps, but your voice gives Claude the human judgment behind those steps.
So the screen shows the what, but your voice provides the why.
Exactly. It completely changes the fidelity of the instructions. You're giving the AI the actual motivation behind the action.
Beat. Let's move to a practical application to see this. We have a fascinating YouTube workflow demo to discuss.
This really shows how the tool handles a messy, subjective task.
Yeah, this is where the technology gets really fun. The demo task focuses on extracting YouTube comments from a creator's channel. But the user specifically only wants comments from long-form videos.
Right.
The task is to paste them into a spreadsheet. You wrap the text so it's readable. Then you judge if they're worthy of future video ideas.
That sounds like a complete nightmare to write a text prompt for. You'd have to describe the entire YouTube Studio interface.
It would take hours to script that out manually. Claude would need to know exactly where to click. It would need to know what specific visual tabs to filter.
But instead of typing all that out, you just record it once.
Pause.
Yeah.
You mentioned filtering out certain types of videos. How does the system actually know what to filter?
Well, it knows entirely through your voice narration. While the screen is recording, you literally just tell Claude what to do. You say out loud to skip the Shorts tab.
Okay.
You verbally instruct it to only look at long-form videos.
So it maps your verbal command to the visual interface.
Right. It sees you click the long-form tab while you explain why. Then you tell it to paste the comment into the right spreadsheet column.
It associates the spoken intent with the visual coordinate.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense for basic navigation. But the judgment part is what really fascinates me here. How does it actually judge the quality of a comment?
Well, you basically explain your qualitative thinking out loud. Let's look at the specific examples from the demo. Someone leaves a comment asking for a side-by-side comparison.
Right.
They want to compare Claude Cowork and ChatGPT directly. You say out loud that this is a strong video idea.
Because it's a highly relevant, searchable topic for that creator.
Exactly. You explain that reasoning to the recording. Now, contrast that with a weak video idea. Someone else asks a very specific, small question about project cost.
And how do we handle that weak idea?
You explain out loud that this is probably less useful. You narrate that a hyper-specific question won't appeal to a broad audience. You're teaching the AI exactly like you would teach a human team member.
But let me ask you this. How does the AI manage to replicate subjective human judgment on what makes a good video idea?
It anchors directly to the spoken reasoning provided during the recording phase. It listens to your verbal rationale and applies that underlying logic.
Okay, so it isn't just guessing.
Right. It extracts the heuristic rule from your conversational explanation.
You speak your thought process aloud, and the AI mimics your actual reasoning.
That's the real magic of this tool. You aren't starting from a blank, intimidating prompt. You just move through the browser naturally.
Yeah.
You simply explain your thinking as you work.
2-sec silence. So we've successfully recorded the physical task. We've also recorded the underlying logic. Let's talk about processing that recording.
Right.
What actually happens behind the scenes when you click Done?
Claude immediately goes to work processing all that multimodal data. It starts turning that raw recording into a reusable, automated skill.
And the stats on this processing phase are pretty wild.
Oh, they really are. Let me give you the breakdown. In this specific test, it processed roughly 73 recorded steps.
Wow.
It analyzed about 76 high-resolution screenshots of the browser state. It also read and parsed the full voice transcript.
That's a massive amount of visual and textual data.
It is. And the whole processing phase took just about 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That's incredibly fast for that volume of information. It has to map audio timestamps to visual screen states. What does the actual output look like after those 2 minutes?
It gives you several distinct artifacts. First, it generates a plain language summary of the entire workflow. It essentially tells you what it thinks you just taught it. Second, it creates a highly detailed SKILL.md file.
And what exactly is the function of that markdown file?
This file is the actual reusable brain of the automation. It breaks down the step-by-step process into structured rules. It documents exactly how to open the YouTube Studio interface. It notes exactly how to apply the right visual filters.
Does it also capture the subjective elements we discussed earlier?
Yes, it includes the exact judgment rules for evaluating the comments. It translates your spoken heuristics into logic gates within the file.
That's amazing.
It also clearly outlines any edge cases you told it to handle carefully.
BD. Which leads us to a really crucial insight from the demo. Something Claude apparently figured out entirely on its own.
Right. This is the part that surprised the testers the most. Claude automatically inferred several invisible boundaries for the task.
Yeah.
It understood that it should never actually reply to any comments. It knew it should never click the like button. It also understood it should never delete anything.
Whoa, imagine scaling to 1 billion queries with that level of contextual understanding.
It's genuinely profound when you think about it. Nobody explicitly told the AI to avoid those specific actions.
Right.
The user never said, don't reply to this comment. It just understood the safe boundaries of the task purely from context.
Because the stated goal was only to read, copy, and evaluate.
Exactly. It recognized that engaging with the audience was outside its mandate. It inferred the negative space of the assignment.
That raises a critical question for me about the final product. Is the output just a rigid script of clicks or something more dynamic?
It's highly dynamic by design. It builds a robust conceptual model of the task itself.
Okay.
It deeply understands what not to do just as much as what to do. It isn't just memorizing coordinates on a screen.
It creates a mental model of the task, not just a blind click track.
Precisely. It's intelligent, adaptive navigation. It's not just rote mechanical repetition.
2-sec silence. This all sounds incredibly powerful and intuitive. The natural temptation is to use this tool for absolutely everything.
Oh, for sure.
But we really need to look at the automation hierarchy.
So-
When is this actually the right tool for the job?
That is a sobering but deeply necessary reality check. You absolutely must establish a strategic hierarchy for automation. Claude Skill Builder is amazing, but it isn't for everything.
So what's the first step in that decision hierarchy?
Step one is always looking for official connectors. If you're using major platforms like Gmail, Slack, or Google Drive, you should always use their official built-in connectors first.
Why are official connectors always the mandated step one?
Because they're highly stable and reliable, they interact directly with the application's underlying data.
Right.
They don't rely on visual screen layouts at all. Visual layouts are constantly changing and will break your automation.
A simple button color change could ruin a visual workflow.
So what happens if a direct connector doesn't exist? What's step two?
Step two is turning to third-party automation tools. If no direct integration exists natively within the app itself, you check if the platform works with those established automation services.
Things like Zapier MCP, a tool connecting AI to thousands of apps using structured actions.
Exactly. Zapier MCP is often the much cleaner, safer choice here. It uses those structured API actions instead of relying on visual clicks. It moves the data securely behind the scenes.
Which finally brings us to step three in the hierarchy.
Step three is deploying the Claude Skill Builder. This should generally be viewed as your last resort, but I want to emphasize that it's a very powerful last resort.
So when do we actually pull the trigger on step three? Where does it shine?
You use it for messy, purely visual browser navigation tasks. You use it on apps that have no clean API available. Think about community platforms like School or newsletter builders like Beehive.
Places where you normally have to click through 5 different menus. Right. Think about bespoke internal company dashboards.
Right.
Or those clunky, outdated admin panels we all absolutely hate using.
Yeah.
Those are the perfect targets for this kind of visual training.
But if this recording feature is so incredibly easy to use, why shouldn't we just use the Skill Builder for everything?
Because visual browser actions are fundamentally fragile by their very nature. They're easily broken by minor user interface updates. They simply cannot compete with the long-term stability of direct data connections.
Official connectors are just more stable because they bypass the visual browser interface entirely.
Exactly. You always want to use the right tool for the right job. You don't use a hammer to turn a screw.
2-sec silence. This deep dive is brought to you by our partners who make complex technology easy to understand. Try their new workflow tools today. 2-sec silence. Okay, we're back. We've covered a lot of technical ground today. Let's synthesize the ultimate takeaway from all of this information. What is the big picture?
The overarching big idea here is a massive paradigm shift. The era of staring at a blank text prompt is shifting. We're rapidly moving towards something called workflow capture.
Workflow capture.
Yeah.
I really like that term. It sounds much more active.
It perfectly describes the new reality of AI interaction. It means recording the way you actually do your daily work. You just explain your nuanced decisions out loud as you go.
You're capturing the human element of the process.
Yes. Then you effortlessly turn those repeated manual actions into scalable automation. You're giving the AI a real, tangible example of success.
Right.
You're no longer trying to describe success abstractly.
You're giving it your voice, your precise clicks, and your judgment.
Exactly. It saves an immense amount of tedious setup time. It makes automating those messy, repeated workflows so much easier.
Yeah.
It lowers the barrier to entry for complex automation significantly.
Boss. This leaves me with a final provocative thought for you to ponder today. We've seen how AI can now learn simply by watching us work and by listening to our reasoning out loud. How soon until the main bottleneck in our work is no longer coding?
Or even our ability to write a clever prompt.
Right. How soon until the primary bottleneck is simply our own ability to clearly articulate our decision-making process out loud?
Oh, absolutely.
We're going to have to get very good at explaining ourselves.
That's a fascinating angle. We'll have to truly understand our own tacit knowledge.
Exactly. Just like training that brand new coworker, pulling up a chair, showing them the ropes. But this time, the coworker scales infinitely. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.